G'day folks, Steve from Vintage Restorations Australia here. In today's episode we clean up the rear chassis, the diff and the springs, getting ready to put that tub on. Before we refit the ute tub, I want to give this a bit of a clean up and maybe a coat of paint. If you have a look at the surface, there's a bit of underlying corrosion there. The paint system's kind of failed. So I'm going to have a bit of a grind of that, apply some corrosion inhibitor and then undercoat it and repaint it. I've got a few little spots, I've just got to do a couple of little welds just here and on the other side there. And while I'm at it, I'll give all of that a clean up with the wire brush and apply some tannic acid to stabilise it, because I love my tannic acid, and we'll see how it looks. This old battery box is a bit rusted out and buggered. We've got to cut this off because the new tub's going to fit down over here. This was from when it had the tray on it and it sat down under the tray. So we're going to get rid of that and relocate it up under the bonnet somewhere and see what we can do with that. I'm going to cut that off. I've made a bit of a start on that, knocked off a lot of corrosion and loose paint and stuff. I'm finding this thing's a bit of a beast. It's a little bit harsh, if anything. It bucks around like something that bucks around a lot. I use a range of brushes when I'm cleaning. These are the Josco Brumby. I guess they call it that because they jump around like a wild horse. When you put them on an angle grinder, they tend to bounce. They're a little bit dangerous, good for big flat areas and stuff. When I get into the detail work around fittings and things, I like these. These little packs are only about $10 in the special bin at Mitre 5. They're kind of good and cheap. They're bronze, so they don't rip into the metal as much as the steel ones. And I use them on a drill, so they're going a little bit slower. It's a bit more controlled and a bit safer compared to the Crazy Horse Brumby thing. Had enough of that for the day. It's a bit of a hard ride. Time for a beer. So getting on your back and getting under there and grinding has got to be one of the glory jobs of restoration. It's pretty dirty work. Yeah. If there's a benefit of home isolation, your beautiful wife brings you homegrown lamb sandwich on her sourdough bread that she's made. Beautiful. Dog Marley, you hear about the lamb sandwich? Well, I've got a bit of bad news about that. I'm not prepared to share. see there I've ground back all that loose corrosion off the surface of that with those wire brushes and the bronze brushes. There's a fair bit of paint under there, under the diff, but these springs and hangers and things require a bit of corrosion inhibiting, so I'm going to use a tannic acid rust converter to stabilise any surface residual. There's a few little bits like in there where I couldn't get. Tannic doesn't actually mind a little bit of surface rust, but get the loose stuff off. It actually reacts a little bit better if there's a little bit of flash rusting or remnant surface rust there. I usually make my own tannic rust converter, as you might have seen in some of the other videos, but today I'm a bit, I've run out, so I'm just going to use this commercial preparation. This stuff's pretty expensive at 30 bucks for a little bottle like that. What's that, only half a litre or something? So don't slop it on too recklessly. Make sure you give it a good shake before you put it on. And decant it into another tin. That's one I emptied yesterday, a tin. I might empty another one of those fairly soon. So decant into there and paint out of there so you don't contaminate what's in the bottle. I guess the next step from here is to put a couple of coats of primer on this, get it all undercoated, and then we can put a top coat on. I've decided I'm going to paint this black because I've found enough black paint down the bottom to identify that the original paint colour on the chassis was black. So black it's going to be, and it all disappears under the new ute tub anyway, so I'm not that fussed, and I've got black, so that's what I'm using. There we go, the end of a long day. Managed to get the undercoat on and etch primer. 2 cans from a pressure pack because I couldn't be bothered setting up the compressor and cleaning the gun and doing all that stuff just to get a bit of primer on there. It's not the worst job in the world, it's not the best job either, but you got to bear in mind that it's going to disappear under a ute tub, and the paint in this instance is more about protecting and preserving that chassis. It's a good rust-free chassis, there's not a skerrick of corrosion in it, so we want to keep it that way. It just needed a refinish basically, so I top up with a paint system to keep that corrosion away from it. So tomorrow we'll put a top coat or 2 on of just an epoxy enamel black over the top, so it all stays protected and nice. A few weld repairs, paint them up. There we go, 2 coats of epoxy enamel. It's a good durable paint. Hopefully do the job of corrosion prevention on that for many years to come. I don't particularly like gloss black paint, but seems to be the standard for doing chassis and things. Anyway, it's a good durable paint system that'll last. Well, that's another day done. It's coming together. Now that I've got that painted, the next little thing will be to put the new exhaust system in. That was meant to be here a couple of days ago. Obviously it's been a bit delayed because of the COVID virus and all that kind of thing. Hopefully that'll turn up in the next day or 2, and then we can get that tub on, which I'm looking forward to. I'm pretty excited about seeing this with the tub on. That's it for today, folks. Hope you enjoyed that and got something out of it. If you did, please like it because that'll help us out. And if you haven't subscribed, we'd appreciate it if you do. It's completely free, costs you nothing, but it helps us out. Till next time we see you, take care of yourselves. Come on, sheep. How are you today, you motley crew? Hey? Look at you scruffy bunch. Oh, that's lovely. Have a pee on camera. There's my humble country estate, befitting of a Land Rover owner.